Welcome to the even more stories of the Secret City. This is February the 27th. We're glad to have all of you here. And remember, as I tell you each time, although I've got you muted, if you want to say anything, just unmute yourself and chime in. We want this to be as participatory as we can get. So you're welcome to join in even when we're making presentations. We love to be interrupted. So let's begin. Let me make just a couple of comments.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
During the Great War, we had to keep mum about what was going down here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. But now, the secret's out, and we're ready to tell everyone. Well, we hope to see you here really soon at the P25 History Center. You can learn more by typing in exploreoakridge.com and do one of those.
Well, I don't know why that was there, and I don't know how it got gone, but I'm glad it's gone. All right, that's down. And you know that we're having some special guests. Today we're having Emily Jernigan of Flatwater Tales. And we're also having Ian Wilder of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. So they will be sharing information with us, and then we will have some time to talk about things that I've got prepared for us to wrap up the sessions with these three sessions. So now, if you're not muted, please go ahead and mute yourself. Let's see, if I can find it, I will do it for you.
You may have to mute yourself.
So, Emily, we're ready when you want to share your screen. Emily's with the Flatwater Tales, and she's going to give us a little bit of the history and share some information with us.
That's not it. That's not, that one's the one. Okay.
You're doing fine.
Okay. All right, so.
If you want it larger, click play. Look up the top and click play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drop it.
You got to click on play. Emily, I'm not sure what happened to you. You seem frozen. You want to stop your share and try again? I think we lost Emily. She'll come back in just a moment. Let's give her just a little bit of time. Ian, are you on here with us? I don't see you. We have Ian Wilder. Here he comes right there. Good to see you, Ian. We're struggling with a little technical difficulties, but I'm not hearing you either.
You.
Now, I got you then.
Yeah.
Ray, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Wonderful. I am not in the office this morning, and so technology isn't always my friend.
I understand. We're having a little trouble with Emily, so if you want to go ahead and start your part of the program, I'd be happy for that, and we'll bring her on when she comes back. So this is Ian Wilder, and he's with the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. And Ian, do you have anything that you want to share with them from a screen standpoint?
I might end up sharing my screen midway through, but I'm just going to talk for a little bit.
That's absolutely fine.
Mhm.
Just go
Well,
right ahead.
thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you having us join you this morning. So for everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Ian Wilder. I am the Education Ranger at Manhattan Project National Historical Park here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Manhattan Project National Historical Park is a relative newcomer to the Park Service. As you all probably well know, created in 2015, and it preserves the stories, the history of three of the cities that end up
Go get you on
building
the
the
screen.
first
Okay,
atomic
I'm
bomb.
trying. I am sorry.
Share your screen.
Computer quit.
Emily, please mute yourself,
No,
and
flip
we'll
that
bring
on.
you on in a little bit. Emily, we'll bring you on in just a little bit. We've got Ian Wilder talking now, okay? Go ahead, Ian.
Okay. And so here in Oak Ridge, we tell the stories not just of what Congress might say the Manhattan Project Park is, the three major factories, X10, K25, and Y12. But rather, we tell the story of the 75,000 individuals who are going to call Oak Ridge home during the war years. And that can be everything from Victory Gardens. We're based out of the Children's Museum of Oak Ridge, and have two Victory Gardens out back, as well as a pollinator garden. Through the folks coming to the movie theaters in Jackson Square and the Grove Theater. And so by telling these stories, the 130,000 individuals who are going to be working across Oak Ridge, Hanford, and Los Alamos, we're able to.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please stop sharing your screen. Let Ian talk, and I'll bring you on in just a little bit.
Where's the, was it tested?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Please stop sharing your screen.
Okay, stop sharing screen.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just click it.
All right, now mute yourself, and we will bring you on when Ian finishes, okay? All right, go ahead, Ian. I apologize. And class, I apologize, but we're doing the best we can. We'll get Emily on in just a few minutes, but Ian has started telling us about the Manhattan Project National Historical Park, and I don't want to interrupt him anymore if I can help it. So, Ian, please keep going.
We're all used to Zoom issues at this point, so I'm easy with this. So as I was saying, there's 130,000 individuals who all contribute to the Manhattan Project, and 159,998 of them aren't General Leslie Groves or Oppenheimer. And so that's really the story that we tell at the Manhattan Project. We tell the science, we tell the engineering. I can give you a rundown on uranium enrichment, gaseous diffusion. I can give you a rundown on the electromagnetic separation. But we try to give the visitors who come into the park, who come into Oak Ridge, who often just see a sign on the side of the highway and know there's a national park here, a way to connect, a way to see someone who looked like them, might do a job that isn't too dissimilar to what they're doing 80 years later, and be able then to go home and have a connection to really one of the most influential pieces of history of the last century. And so that's where we get started. And we're a relatively small staff. We're going through some hiring right now. So I'm actually the only on-site ranger. We have a wonderful team of VIPs, volunteers in parks that help supplement. So if you ever come out to visit us at the Children's Museum, you might interact with one of them in their green shirts. But know that I'm usually right around the corner if you have any deeper questions that they're not able to answer. And really, this park allows us to tell a much larger story than just the three factories in Oak Ridge, because that 59,000 acres that is seized by the federal government in 1942, the entire town of Oak Ridge is the Manhattan Project. And so a lot of what you're going to see on a day-to-day basis of the park isn't going to be at those factories because you can't get to them. They're behind the DOE fence out at K25. There's still the demolition and remediation going on. And so we adapt. And so with that, let me pull up a screen here for you. And let's see if my technology will work for y'all.
We're accustomed to it by now, so take your time.
Sure. Are you all able to see a map here showing up for y'all?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great when technology ends up working for us.
It is, absolutely.
All right. And so this is just one a snapshot of what we've got on our nps.gov, our park website. And as you can see there is the X10 graphite reactor inside Oak Ridge National Labs. We've got 9731 up at Y12. But the majority of these points aren't in our lovely restricted area. They're not on the DOE land right now. They are in the city of Oak Ridge because that is the story. This is where those folks are living, as well as a construction camp down near K25. And so the park over since 2018 has been putting up waysides. And waysides, you might not recognize them from me saying a word, but you definitely would recognize them if you've been walking around any national park. But these are those park interpretive panels. They are probably 4 feet tall. They got a slight angle to them and a big photo of some sort. And so these have started to pop up all throughout the city of Oak Ridge. And this is a wonderful public partnership that we have with Explore Oak Ridge and the Chamber of Commerce. The Park Service designs these. We write out the text. We do all of that. And then the city, the Chamber of Commerce, are the ones who help fund actually getting them out, do all the what is it, 411 dig, making sure there's nothing under there that is going to get anyone electrocuted, and it gets them out, and we're able to tell a much wider part of the story than you might see just on a bus tour. And so far we have 23 of these actually out and installed throughout the town of Oak Ridge, with another 5 in fabrication. And this gets started on a little bit of a scavenger hunt. So if you are ever around, if you are ever coming to visit us at the Children's Museum, stop by, and I've got a rack card, a little 4x8 little card that has the addresses for all of the current waysides. And it really is a fun way to spend an afternoon digging deeper into the Manhattan Project and possibly seeing some parts of town that you haven't seen before or haven't seen in a while. These cover greenways and all bits of history for the Manhattan Project, and even into some of the 50s and 60s as well, as we start to tell the wider story of Oak Ridge. With that, if you are looking for other ways to explore the Manhattan Project, we've started a collaboration with Norris Dam State Park, which just about 30 miles up the Clinch River, Norris Dam, one of those stated reasons for why the Manhattan Project gets Oak Ridge as its uranium enrichment city. But we've got a direct connection as well. The Norris Park, what will eventually become Norris Dam, was built by the CCC, has vacation cottages there, and is run by the TVA in the 30s and 40s into the 50s. And during the Manhattan Project, the Army Corps of Engineers and the contractors who will be in charge of housing rent out the entirety of the vacation cottages up at Norris Park. They winterize them. They're not, they were summer cottages, but they'll winterize them and use them as supplemental housing for the workers here in Oak Ridge. And so that's a story that we're diving deeper into with the Rangers up at Norris Dam, because that's a different way of life for those folks. These aren't folks living behind a fence. They're living at a lake. They're there. There's the swimming and the canoeing is right at their doorstep. And their coworkers are inside the gates dealing with the mud and construction that is Oak Ridge, but both doing the same jobs. And so we're starting a collaboration up with Norris Dam State Park. And so if y'all do end up heading up to the Lenore Museum up at Norris Dam State Park for the month of March, so we've got a opening coming up March 1st. They will be hosting one of our photo exhibits on women of the Manhattan Project. And so that's our first one, and just be on the lookout for a lot more exploration of this wider Clinch River Valley story that all ties into the Manhattan Project. Ray, did I miss anything? Do you have any questions for me?
No, you've done well, and I really appreciate that. I'm also so glad to see the Lenore Museum exhibit that you have there. And I think that part of the story about the people that lived in Norris is not one that has been told. We in Oak Ridge thought that everyone lived inside the city. And then all of a sudden we realized, no, there was a bus system, 850 buses that went to all the surrounding communities and brought the workers in. But even knowing that, I still did not realize the full extent of what had happened with the Norris Park. That's amazing.
And that one is really just sort of the way that we found it out is just a wonderful coincidence, is that one of the rangers up at Norris Dam was going through the Knoxville newspapers in 43 and 44 and just looking for any mention of Norris. And it was a newspaper article about how the Clinton Engineer Works had rented out all of the cabins and they wouldn't be available that summer. And we've started to do a bit more of a deeper dive, and that's both are stories of displacement. That's how Norris Dam gets its start. That's how the Manhattan Project gets its start. And really big engineering problems or projects coming into the Clinch River Valley and forever changing how this valley is going to interact, both the people in the valley, but also its place in the wider world. And so we're real excited for what's going to come out of that.
And I think you should be. That's excellent. Anyone else have any questions for Ian? Anything that you'd like to ask him? Please just unmute yourself and start talking. We'll give you just a few minutes, and please ask some questions. Well, Ian, we appreciate your presentation. Thank you for taking the time. And remember, folks, those wayside markers have a lot of very useful and interesting information on them. You can pick up the rack card up at the Children's Museum. Just inside the door to the right is where the Visitor Center is located for the Manhattan Project National Historical Park. And then you can enjoy some time of driving around the city, maybe seeing some things that you hadn't seen in a while, and learning about the Manhattan Project National Historical Park in our city. So I encourage you to do that. And Ian, thanks for coming. You're welcome to stay with us, but I imagine you have other things to do this morning. So we do appreciate you being with us, okay?
Hey, Ray, I appreciate the invitation. Have a great rest of your class.
Thank you very much. All right, Emily, let's transition over to you and give this thing another whirl. I believe we'll make it this time. Between me, you, and Charlie, this thing ain't got a chance. We're gonna make it work, okay? You have to unmute yourself first. Now,
Okay, I unmuted myself here.
good. All right.
Now I need to share my screen.
Mhm.
There it is. Click it.
Okay, you shared your screen. Very
Okay.
good. You're ready to go.
Hit play.
All right, let me hit play. There we go. Can you all see that?
Not yet, but I've still got hopes. Yes,
Uh-oh.
it came up and then it left.
Is it back again?
No, it's just popping in. Whoa, wait a minute. I know what the problem is. Wait just a minute. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Side by side speaker. I don't know why it's popping in and out.
What if I stop share?
No,
No.
No, take it back from the out of the play mode.
Exit.
Just hit your escape. Your escape.
Okay.
All right, let's try it there. Let's just go with that.
Let's
Okay.
just go with this. Okay. All right. So now,
I should make it big.
Now
How do I-
let's bring up your second slide whenever you're ready.
okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming and listening to talk about Flatwater Tales. Our storytelling festival will be our 7th festival is this year, June 2nd and 3rd at the Grove Theater. These are the founding members of the Flatwater Tales. We started in getting going on it in 2017, and this picture is taken in the morning after our very first Flatwater Tales in 2018, and you probably recognize some of those familiar faces. The one you may not recognize is on the far right, and that's Kiran Singh Sarah, who is the president of the International Storytelling Center up in Jonesboro. And we established a relationship with him, and he was extraordinarily kind in giving us advice. And he also came and made opening remarks on the first day of our Flatwater Tales. In case you're wondering what it's like to go to Jonesboro and see the festival up there, they have 5 tents that fit 2,000 people, absolutely no room in between each seat. And it is just an amazing experience. And if some of you have been, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, maybe you'll go this year. We actually had a bus tour go from Oak Ridge this year up to the National Festival. And that was a lot of fun. All right, so why did we start Flatwater Tales? Flatwater Tales storytelling brings people together. You're sitting there. It's not like being in a movie theater. The audience interacts with the storyteller. It builds community and it gives us some shared experiences. When listening to stories, we learn, we feel, we cry, we laugh, sometimes at the same time. Storytelling can inspire us and give us hope. And even though Jonesboro is only a little over 2 hours away, most people in Oak Ridge have never made the trip. It can be a little overwhelming, and if you don't really know what you're doing, it is a little overwhelming. You need a guide or go with a group. And so the Rotarians, we're all Rotarians, decided that we wanted to bring something of that to Oak Ridge. So what is Flatwater Tales? You can read up there about what our goals are, but what really happens is it's fun. It is spellbinding. If you see that picture, you might see somebody you recognize there. I took this picture at the very first Flatwater Tales, and I saw Ray and Fanny just sitting there, so happy, laughing, having a great time. To me, that photograph epitomizes the experience of most people who go to Flatwater Tales. It's time with your friends and neighbors. It's also, Flatwater Tales is also a service project of the 3 Oak Ridge Rotary Clubs, and you'll hear a little more about that later. But it's also an opportunity to experience the magic of live storytelling. If I ask you, what do you think of when somebody says storytelling, what do you think? Most people don't have any idea, or they think it's a child listening to a story or something like that. And what we have found is that once people get in there and see one of our events, go to one of our shows, they want to come back because it is so much fun. As I said, we do have community service project. We've had from the very beginning. What you see here, we put 4 benches that we paid for up at the marina, around the marina area. On the upper left, you can see Ed Westcott's 3 of his children. This is at a ribbon cutting that we had for the Westcott Wall, which Flatwater Tales paid for, that lines a 65-foot wall in front of the Grove Theater. And you may see Randy McNally, if you look real closely, he's in that picture. On the lower right, you can see a group of the Scarborough 85 standing in front of that Westcott Wall, and these were we were handing out DVDs and thumb drives to members of that group of the story of the Flatwater of the Scarborough 85 that was told this year. You see a plaque of we had a $33,000 project that included Rotary District money, Flatwater Tales money, and volunteer hours from the Friends of the Grove Theater. So that was a $33,000 project that replaced all of the lighting inside and outside of the Grove Theater. And then there's a group of Oak Ridge educators that we paid for them to go to a training up in Jonesboro about using storytelling in the classroom. We're all storytellers. Jimmy Neal Smith founded the Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro. He was a native from there, and 75 years ago, we're in the 76th year now, he decided that he wanted a festival. So he put a bunch of hay bales out and had the back of a pickup truck. And that was the first storytelling festival in Jonesboro. And 76 years later, it's still going on. The debut of the Flatwater Tales was in 2018, and it was a hit. It was a sellout. We actually were shocked. We didn't know what to expect, but we did. We really had a great time. You can see David and Martha Hobson, they're 2 of our founding members, right there. And it was a really extraordinary time. And I will tell you that we started Flatwater Tales because we were standing on Main Street in Jonesboro at a festival. And I said, I've been thinking about, wouldn't it be great if we had something like this in Oak Ridge? And they were like, what? And then it took about 15 seconds and we just kind of said, well, why don't we see if we can do it? And so we did. In 2019, we moved to the Grove Theater because we were about able to double the capacity of our audience. And we had a much larger audience that year. We decided that because a lot of people don't know what storytelling is, we didn't want to do this project if we couldn't start with top-notch storytellers. If you have ever been to a poor or even mediocre storytelling show, you're probably never going to go back. And we wanted this to be an annual experience, and we want everybody to be inspired to come back. So we have many of our volunteers are from Rotary, but we also have a number of community volunteers. But we have, on the days of the festival, we've got about 100 volunteers that come in and help us with all kinds of things. Well, then 2020 happened and we canceled it entirely because of COVID. And in 2021, we did a virtual festival where our 3 tellers filmed themselves doing a live show up in Charleston, West Virginia. And it was okay. We had maybe 100 people, and we did have a few people from Canada that joined in on our Zoom festival. So now we're saying we're the International Flatwater Tales Storytelling Festival. We were back in 2022. We relaunched it. We were back with a vengeance. We came back with some new ideas. We wanted to expand it and we added Friday night in addition to our 3 shows on Saturday. And I want to tell you right now that every one of our shows, there are now 4 of them, each one has all of our tellers telling a different story at every show. So if you go to 4 shows, then you're going to hear 4 shows times 3 tellers telling different stories. So you're going to hear a lot of different stories and a lot of different kinds of stories. So in 2022, Charles Crow gave us the idea of hiring Sheila Arnold to tell the story of the Scarborough 85. The Scarborough 85, if you're not familiar with them, they are the 85 members of the Scarborough community that in 1955 desegregated the Oak Ridge High School and Robertsville Junior High School. This was the first time in the Southeast that a school system was desegregated after the Brown versus the Board of Education. Nobody much knows about this. And one of the main reasons that people don't know about it is because it went so well. It was really, it's not, there were problems. There absolutely were problems and challenges, and but mostly it went very smoothly. And so we hired Sheila to do her research and tell the story of those 85 brave young people. She came down and she met with those the people of the Scarborough 85. Ray gave her a very thorough tour of Oak Ridge and filled her in on some of the history. She earned the trust of those members of that group, and she honored both their memories and their courage, and told their story very meaningfully on Friday night. The New York Times sent a photographer that up to film, to video them and take them. So it really helped the Scarborough 85 group to actually, it raised their profile somewhat. There's a very active group here in Oak Ridge that is working diligently to put up a memorial, an amazing memorial in Bissell Park. If they can do it, it's a $2 million project, but they are on their way, and it's going to be amazing, and it's probably going to happen. But having this idea of having someone actually tell the stories in a meaningful way, in a narrative, really made a difference. And that was something new for us that last year. At the same time, our Bill Lepp and Kim Whitecamp electrified our audience. You can see everybody's enthusiastic. Bill Lepp is one of the most preeminent storytellers in the whole country. He has been with us every year since we started. He is the only teller that has come back more than once. My son calls him the tent pole. We don't meet in a tent, but Bill is definitely the stalwart of the Flatwater Tales storytelling. New for this year, this is the Reverend Robert Jones. He's from Detroit. He's an amazing musician and storyteller. And he is coming this year on Friday night, June 2nd at 7 p.m. And he is going to talk about the history of America through music, and using the confluence of Black music, African-American music, other music, and how they blend together and bring people together to tell a more complete story. And oh my gosh, he's got an amazing voice, and he's a great musician. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll also have 2 pre-festival workshops this year. On Thursday, June 1st, Lynn Ford is going to talk about how to collect family stories and create written and spoken narratives. And then on Friday morning, Robert Jones is going to talk about celebrating diversity and using music and stories to build bridges. Both of these workshops are held out at the UT Arboretum Auditorium and out there on Illinois Avenue, and each one is limited to 50 people. So we've sold out some of our workshops too. So those are very popular. And now if you want to know how to get tickets, flatwatertales.com tells you everything you want to know and more. The family show is on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. The evening shows for adults and the matinee are $15 each, and children are $5. You can see that the times of the shows up here: Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening. Each show is about 2 hours, more or less. You can also buy tickets at the Farrell Shop in Oak Ridge. We do that as a convenience to people who want to attend, and also that is cash or check only, and also to support our Barbara Farrell, who's been a tremendous friend of Flatwater Tales. We've got a QR code up there that will take you to our website. June 2nd and 3rd, y'all come, scoop up your family and friends, bring your church group, bring your Rotary Club, make it a fellowship event, bring your pickleball team, have a meal, go out before or after the show, get together, and you'll see so many volunteers and people that you know there to create this amazing experience for our region. We just really think we want to share this storytelling art with everybody because it's so much fun and it's so inspiring. That's it. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
All right, if you'll stop sharing your screen, please. Now,
Right.
if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and speak directly to Emily and ask her any questions you want to about the Flatwater Tales.
Come on, y'all. Doesn't anybody want to know how long does the workshop last, or what can I expect at the workshop, or do you have refreshments, or how many of my friends can I, or do you have reserved seats? All these, don't you have any questions about any of this?
Why the name Flatwater Tales?
Good.
Okay. That's a great question.
Yeah.
If some of you may remember that, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years ago, we had dragon boat races here. The Dragon Boat Festival was put on by the 3 Oak Ridge Rotary Clubs. We did the first year, we did the second year, and what we found after the second year, we had great participation. But part of the reason for having those dragon boat races was to raise money for Rotary clubs for our service projects. And what we found after 2 years is that we were losing money. We weren't making money. It was great for community building, but it did not fulfill its purpose. So there was a joint agreement with the city and the Rotary clubs that we were not going to do it anymore. So several of us spent about a year planning what could replace those dragon boat festivals. And so we came up with the idea of a waterfront festival that would not be dragon boats. And so I talked to one of my very creative young friends who's from Oak Ridge, and he said, why don't you call it the Flatwater Festival? Because we've got flat water out here, and we said, that sounds great. So we had a Flatwater Festival. The first year was great. It was a lot of fun. The second year, we were supposed to have a regatta, and that at the last minute didn't happen. And so the second Flatwater Festival was a total bust. It was an embarrassment. I was chair of both of those festivals. I can tell you that it was mortifying. However, after that first successful Flatwater Festival on the river, I came up with the idea we did of doing the storytelling festival. So we decided we could add it on to the Waterfront Festival, which was on a Saturday. And so we had the first Flatwater Tales on a Sunday. And so it was an adjunct to that waterfront festival. Well, the waterfront festival died in 2018, but Flatwater Tales was reborn. And so we've kept the name, and that's why we're Flatwater Tales. That's more than you want to know probably, but that's why it's called Flatwater Tales.
Very good. Excellent. Any other questions, please? See how
Hi, Emily. This is Rose. You talked about another event out in Jonesboro. Is that called Flatwater Tales, or is it called something else out there?
In Jonesboro, it's called the National Storytelling Festival, and it's held on the first full weekend in October every year. Jonesboro is a town of about 5,000 people, and they get about 14,000 people that come to this festival. Not everybody comes at the same time or anything, but it is the National Storytelling Festival, and the center up there is called the International Storytelling Center, and it is it is maybe the preeminent storytelling center in the world, right there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So if you're interested, we are going to do a bus tour again this year like we did last year. We had, I think, 32 people that went up on a bus and went to several of the shows. It was a more manageable event for a number of people and not so overwhelming. And it was a great way to introduce people to storytelling, where you can just go up in the comfort of a bus and have somebody go with friends and make that an event.
So how can I learn about that bus trip? How can I join?
Well, it's a little early for that, but it will be on flatwatertales.com once we get it. And there will be a big campaign, publicity campaign going out, probably not until the summer.
Good. Yeah, after Flatwater Tales, then we'll start talking about Jonesboro.
That's exactly right. We're in the throes of the heavy duty planning to put this June event on right now. And if any of you want to volunteer, it is a lot of fun, right, Ray? Ray's been one of our best volunteers, and we also accept donations. You can do that on flatwatertales.com, and or you can add a donation to your check at the Farrell shop if you want to do that. But mostly we just love to see you come out and just give us a little try and see if you don't want to come back.
Excellent. Any other questions? Any other thoughts or questions from anyone? Well, Emily, thank you so much for being with us, and we appreciate it. And please don't worry about the technological problems that we had. We live.
You'd think after all this time that we'd have Zoom down, but we don't.
No.
But I am sorry. I apologize for that. But Ray, thank you for inviting me to come and talk about something that's obviously near and dear to my heart.
It is, and I'm proud to say that it's becoming a stalwart part of Oak Ridge, and flat does include or need to be included in our stories from Oak Ridge. You're making history as we speak. Thank you again, and appreciate you coming. You're welcome to stay, but you and Charlie probably have other things to do this morning. So
we're in the throes of a lot of stuff, but thank you all. It's nice to meet all of you, even if it's only a name and a Zoom, but thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Emily, so much. All right. Let's go back to my screen. Let's do that one and this one. All right. So first of all, do you have any questions of me? Anything? We've had Ian and we've had Emily, and now we're going to go on to a few other things that I want to share with you. But again, I welcome your questions at any time. So just unmute yourself and interrupt me, and we'll talk about something that'll be more interesting to you and more interesting to me than what I have planned. So please don't hesitate to interrupt. One of the things that not too many people may be aware of is that we have a ship named for Oak Ridge, the USS Oak Ridge. And this is a bell that commemorates that ship and that partnership. It is not the bell from the USS Oak Ridge. It is a bell that one of the members, the crew members of the USS Oak Ridge, found in and bought in a yard sale, and had it engraved, and then put the stand together. And inside the bell stand, up in this area where I'm pointing to, there's a time capsule that's been put in there that has information about the relationship between the city of Oak Ridge and the USS Oak Ridge, and a list of all of the people that were crew members on the ship. They have an annual reunion each year, and this year they came to Oak Ridge, and they held their commemoration ceremonies at the Oak Ridge International Friendship Bell. What they do there is they list the names of all the crew members that have passed away during the past year, and they ring the bell each time they mention one of the crew members. And then they had an event in the evening, and the mayor and Judy were there for that. They actually sponsored the reception for them on Friday evening. Then on Saturday morning, they came out to the Friendship Bell and had their ceremony there. And they plan to do that again each year. And they come to our Secret City Festival each year as well, and some of their members do. So there's a good relationship between the city of Oak Ridge and the crew members of the USS Oak Ridge. Now, the USS Oak Ridge is no longer an active ship. It was a submarine dry dock ship and spent most of its career in Spain. But it was a ship that you could bring a submarine into and then take that submarine and lift it out of the water and do the work that needed to be done on it if there was any that was needed. So that's the way that that ship operated for many years. And then it's now with the Coast Guard, and is no longer an active inactive service. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is this experience that I had with Kyle Carpenter. The Medal of Honor recipients had a convention in Knoxville in 2014. We competed for that. I helped to make a film. We actually beat Omaha, Nebraska out. The two of us were the final, Knoxville and Omaha. And we brought them here in 2014. As a part of bringing them here, one of the things they do is they bring these Medal of Honor recipients and they take them around to schools. They have a program that's sponsored by the Medal of Honor Society, Character Counts, and part of that is to expose these young children to these Medal of Honor recipients. And they take them out to the schools and on a morning, and then after they've done that, then their convention goes on for a week. So I had a call from the convention planners saying, look, we have this one Medal of Honor recipient that we're going to take to 3 schools in the morning, and he's going to be worn out. We would like for you to give him a lunch and a tour quietly of Y-12 without any press involvement. We just want to give him some downtime and give him something that he will enjoy. So I agreed to do that. I arranged for a luncheon at the New Hope Center, and gave him, made the plans to give him a tour of the Y-12. And one of the people that worked for me at the time called me, and he said, Ray, I need to come to that luncheon. And I said, oh, we're not inviting people. This is just a quiet lunch for him. And I said, you know, the president of the company will be there, but probably not anybody else. He said, well, I need to be there. He said, I'm the last person that he pulled out of that battle zone in Vietnam. I said, okay, buddy, you got it. You will have a seat right beside him at lunch. So when he came in, that was the most fabulous reunion. Of course, he didn't recognize who this gentleman was at all. But when he told him, said, I'm the last one you pulled out of that battle. That was an amazing reunion to see that happen. Now, this year in 2022, last year in October, they brought the convention to Knoxville again. Now that's unheard of. This convention has competed around the country, around the nation by lots of cities because they want to bring these Medal of Honor recipients to their city. But they decided they wanted to come back to Knoxville. And the reason they made that decision, primary reason, was because they all wanted to come back to Oak Ridge. Many of them didn't get the tour the first year. We did give them a tour, but not everyone got to do it. So they came back in October and we gave them all tours of the city and took them inside the Oak Ridge National Laboratory to the graphite reactor, took them into Y12, actually stopped construction that was going on in building 9731. Gene Sievers, the site manager, who is a retired Navy officer, recognized the importance of having these Medal of Honor recipients here. So he stopped the construction. They set up a bunch of chairs in 9731, and we had an event for them there, which was tremendous. And then just a few weeks after that, Kyle Carpenter contacted us and said, look, I want to come to Oak Ridge for a personal tour, just me and my wife. So we said, sure, we'll provide that to you. And he said, I also want to record a podcast talking about the Manhattan Project. So they suggested that, well, you need to talk with Ray Smith. And Ray, I was so glad to get to do that. And I was on his podcast. We were able to do that while he was here. And we did the podcast. And he also agreed. I bargained with him. I said, I'll be on your podcast if you'll be on our video cast that Keith McDaniel and I do. We do it every other Saturday, and we've been doing it now for about a little over 2 years. There's about 63 or 64 episodes out on YouTube. And Kyle agreed to be a part of that with us as well. And I'm going to see if I can, I'm not going to show you much of it, but if I can get you to just hear his voice. Let's see, I don't know. I have to need to be able to hit that play. I wonder if I can do that. Well, that is not going to work like I thought it would. That's all right. We will do this. Wait just a minute. All right. Now, I want to stop that share. All right. Just a second.
Can overcome anything and again can come out of struggle. And you might be a little banged up from being blown up, but you can come out of struggle and triumphantly and victoriously, and you can do it with a smile and just that how resilient the human mind, body, and spirit is.
Ray, were you holding up a copy of his book a while ago? Was that what you were doing?
I'm trying to get this right. It is, the name of his book is You Are Worth It. Okay. Building a Life Fighting For. And I'm proud that you've done that, Kyle. I'll let you know that it's going to be Christmas gifts that I give to several people, because I think your story is so valuable And what you
I'm
just
not
said
sure
about
that you're seeing that, are you?
yes, it's about you, but no, it's about the human spirit. I think that is so universally true and so very valuable.
Absolutely. And Kyle, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, anytime. And Ray, whoever you give the book to, tell them I hope they like it. But if they don't, just don't give me a review, okay?
Ray's written books, so
Right,
Ray knows
yeah.
about books.
Okay, now I'm going to come back to my Zoom. And I apologize. I hope you got to hear just a little bit of that. Hope you got to hear just a little bit of that. I'm sorry. Now let me see where I am on Zoom. And I don't want to do that, to share my screen. Thank you for being patient with me. All right, now let's continue on. All right. Got that. Now let's go to this. This is Opal Talbot, and she is a 100-year-old Cayetron girl. She came to Oak Ridge, and we celebrated her birthday at the American Museum of Science and Energy, and then we gave her a tour of the Y-12 History Center. And I want you to see this. They've done some renovation of the History Center, and I encourage you to go out to the Y-12 New Hope Center and go through the History Center there. You can do that just by walking up to the door. Now, the doors are locked, and that's all right. You just walk up to the door, punch the little intercom button, and tell them you want to see the Y-12 History Center, and they'll let you in. Now, remember, don't take any pictures outside, but once you get inside the History Center, you can take all the pictures you want to. So I want you to be sure and go see the Y-12 History Center. Now, I'm going to show you a little video here, if I can make this technology work for me. And I want to talk to you about the number of museums we have. Now, let's see if this works. It's trying. Give it just a minute. It's loading. Give it a minute more. Just a minute more. I'm going to let that wind for just a minute and go back to something else. Let's see. No, not to. Go to share screen. And let's go to, where's my keynote? Okay, now let me stop the share and do it again. And Keynote Oracle. Now, give me just a minute to get back to where I was. All right, apologize, but we're going to get there. We were right here and here now, and that's where we were with Opal and the Y12 History Center. All right. Now, I wanted you to see that little video that was produced by Explore Oak Ridge, and I want you to participate with me now. So please unmute yourself if you want to talk to me and tell me how many museums we have in Oak Ridge. You saw 4. Do you know of more? All right. I'm going to tell you. You knew I would just by being quiet. 6, maybe 7, or even 8. There's the American Museum of Science and Energy, Children's Museum of Oak Ridge, the Oak Ridge History Museum, the K25 History Center. All 4 of those you saw on that short little clip from Explore Oak Ridge. There's also the Y12 History Center, which I just showed you and talked about when we had Ms. Talbert there. And then there's the X10 graphite reactor. As of right now, it's only available on the tours coming out of the American Museum of Science and Energy, but it's not going to be available in 2023. The tours are going to start in April, but the graphite reactor will not be on the tours because there is construction going on right around where the people would have to walk through to get in, and they're just uncomfortable bringing the public into that area with such heavy construction. They're demolishing one of the historical reactors that is there and right next to the graphite. So in 2024, it'll be back on the tours and maybe even later in 2023. But as of right now, it's not going to be there. And one that I don't think you're probably as aware of as others is the Scarborough Community Center. A really good display there. On one side of the gym, there's a wall built, and on 2 sides, you walk down between the displays and you'll see on either side displays about the African American history in Oak Ridge. And then finally, there's the Oak Ridge Associated University's Museum of Radiation and Radioactivity. That museum is in a limited area. It's actually located in their South Campus, which is over at the corner of Scarborough Road, Bethel Valley Road, and Pump House Road, right at that intersection. It's in a building that's next to the original Scarborough School building that's still there and being used as offices and labs by the Oak Ridge Associated Universities. But in one end, in the very west end of that building, is located one of the best museums you'll ever find about the radiation and radiation instrumentation. Now, I'm going to see if I can share this with you. So be patient with me one more time. And let's see if we get this virtual tour up. Paul Frame is the one that put the museum together. And I've written an article about Paul, but he's looking at some of the collections that he's got there. And I think well, that one looks like a video. Atomic Toys. All right. Let's see what this is just for the fun of it. Give it a minute. Well, I don't think it's going to come up. Anyway, there's the link to it. That's the ORU Museum of Radiation and Radioactivity. Now, put that. All right, now let's do a stop share. And then share again. And go to I apologize. We will get there. One more thing to do. Okay, there. Oracle 2023. All right. And that takes it out. All right. Zoom and share and Keynote Oracle. I really appreciate your patience as we work through these difficulties, but that's what we do when we're on here. And this is the last few minutes of this program, so I'll stop the share. Now, encourage you to unmute and say anything you'd like or ask me any questions that you'd like. Oh, I did have the link to that museum is in the share in the chat. If you want to go to the chat and see that, Rose Slender has put one up there, or Jeff Smith, to everyone, put the link up there in the chat. Thank you, Jeff, for doing that. Rose saying thank you, appreciate that. And we will have another class in the fall. It's being planned now, and it will feature the history of Robertsville. I'll go into that into some depth to share the story of the history of Robertsville in the next Oracle sessions that we have. Any other comments, questions, or thoughts as we are down into the last minute or so of these 3 sessions? I'll be quiet and let you talk.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ray, for organizing these courses. They open the whole world behind Oak Ridge that I am often totally unaware of. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Melvin. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you've been one of my steady class members from the word go, and I thoroughly appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate your feedback and input. Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right. Well, my alarm just went off saying that it's time to end. I thank you so much for being a part of the program, and I look forward to having another opportunity in the fall to do 3 more sessions on Monday morning. So thank you very much, and see you later.